to make sure.
First one is from Levette, still there, written by David Harrison. And then second one is Creation of the World, Another Business by Arthur Miller.
Sweet. Are we on?
We're on. Yeah, we just it can't hear us right now, but
Oh, okay.
but yeah. So this is like the little pre thing.
Oh, okay.
So I got fancy and did a scrolling
What
text.
time is it? Oh shit, it's over.
Yeah, where it is.
Okay.
Well, someone had knocked over the.
Oh, sorry. Damn it. No touching.
You're good. Oh, I was gonna say I have my disinfectant with me.
It was just shoulder. I was just like,
Oh no, I literally just came from a meeting and Chris Johnson was just like, hey. We're all like elbowing each other. I'm like, that's the new hello.
So here's what I'll do. I won't, because we'll do it like this. Max will, you can stay sitting there. Max will present me, Max, whenever you're done, and then I'll present Arturo. You say a little bit about yourself, then I'll ask you what we're working on. You'll say the first piece and the second piece, then we'll take it from there, because I'll be like, yeah, I'll just let you know. I don't know what I'm going to just see you.
I like your sleep.
I'm gonna be a goofy motherfucker.
You need help?
Could you hit click transition?
Is this transition? No, sir. Oh, I see.
Hey friends, welcome to tonight's streaming service at the Wilbury Theatre Group. It's Max, but we're actually here in the theater tonight. We're doing some socially distanced acting lessons with Marcel Mascaro. So a couple quick things before we start. The exits, in case you need them, are right that way. So bathrooms are right around the corner. Wash your hands, wear your masks. We're all doing it here, except Arturo, because he's our victim tonight. Let's see what else. We hope you're all safe and well out there. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and we hope you're all safe. We look forward to seeing you back in this room eventually. If you want to support the Wilbury Group, please go to the wilburygroup.org/support, and you can pay what you can there. If you ever want to get involved here, you can shoot me an email, max@thewilburygroup.org, or if you want to be coached by the wonderful Marcel, let us know. We'd love to have you in. Other than that, I'll get out of the way, and we'll let them do their thing. Enjoy tonight, y'all. Marcel, take it away.
Okay, right, cool. So, welcome to the coaching room, third session and first day of Arturo Fuentes, who is an actor I have had the pleasure of working with and has just graduated like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So, a big congratulations. He's got his BFA, and you know what? That's all I'll say for me, and I'll just let Arturo speak more about himself and talk about the work he's going to do. Thanks for joining us again, and also, like Max said, if anyone is interested in being a part of this, the days are going to change soon, but just shoot Max or Josh, or maybe just Max, an email and let us know. Write your name down.
Hello, everybody. My name is Arturo Fuentes. As Marcel just pointed out, he just graduated, so congratulations to everybody who just graduated for class of 2020. Gonna make the best of the worst, right? Graduated BFA, theater, and BA in English, and just happy to be here with everybody, especially myself now working again. So for the first one that I'm going to do today.
Right. So you're working on 2 monologues today, right?
Yes,
okay.
Yes,
Cool.
I'm working on 2. The first that we're going to work on is going to be Levette, written by David Harrison. It's an expansion of a 30, give or take, minute monologue, but we're going to do the whole thing. It's going to be like a really short piece of it. And that's hilarious. And the second one is going to be Lucifer in the Creation of the World, Another Business, written by Arthur Miller. And it's a 45-minute monologue. No, I'm just kidding. It's just a really short monologue. And that's pretty much it, yeah.
So I know that before we went on live, I'm going to throw myself under the bus, so to speak. I told Arturo to do the one he spoke about first, but let's actually work on the Arthur Miller piece real quick, because I think lessons that can come out of that, or just some feedback that can come out of that, will be very helpful for the Valera one. So, yeah, I won't say anything else except ask you, for anyone that doesn't know this play, who are you playing? What happened before in the play, so we can understand better what this monologue is about.
Right. So I am playing Lucifer, and this scene specifically, he's talking to God, and it's the first time he really comes out as who Lucifer really is at the end of the day, especially in the play at least. And before the scene happens, Lucifer rebelled against God's command, saying that he shouldn't interact with both Adam and Eve back on Earth. And God knows that Lucifer did do something, and Lucifer's coming back from whatever he just did with Adam and Eve, which the model kind of touched on. And it's pretty much interaction between the two at the moment. And it's the part where Lucifer pretty much is revealing who he really is at the end of the day, even though his past has been really loyal to God and everything else in this thing. But yeah,
Cool.
it's been a bit good.
So, do what you need to do to get yourself ready, and start when you're ready. Use the space however you want. And
This is a test. You're testing me. That's all right for an answer. Now I will confess myself and prove that I finally understand my part in the plan. You see, all my life, sir, I always felt like I was somehow a useless angel. I look at Azrael, so serious and great, perfect for the angel of death, and our sweet Chemiel, exactly right for the angel of mercy. But when you try to examine my character, you find him. Gorgeous profile, superb intelligence, but what was Lucifer for? I'll explain it. You see, when I go down there to help you, he took one bite of that apple, and that innocent stare erupted with such a cunning appetite that I began to wonder, is it possible that I had actually done something evil? Father, I always have certain impulses that mystify me. If by some brought an angel, so of course my many impulse was to go down. Others pray and step forward, and I am drawn to the axe. Oh, I adore every single thing, every single precious thing. I would have further. The testing of the world is my stinking desire. Father, I am ready to take my place beside the throne. Not your right hand, if not your right hand, the left. I'll do it. Now watch this. And I'll do it to you. You see? And I'll start it too. Well, and I'll wear a hunchback around my back and masturbate incessantly. Eternal witness that God loves absolutely everything he made. What a lesson! Will you answer? The point. The far-reaching ultimate is that this will change the future. Thank you.
great. So, two questions. How did that go? Yeah, how did that go?
How did that go?
First.
Interesting. I like, generally speaking, playing with different surroundings that I have and building from what is accessible to me.
Right.
I have never performed there in the second row of a chair and walking down to get a stool before in previous takes that I've done for that words. So it went solidly tangible.
Let me ask another question then.
Yeah.
What were you working on?
What am I working on?
What were you working on? Like
What I
what?
was working on?
Yeah.
I was really thinking of the
And by that I mean preparation, right? In
right.
terms.
I think I'm really focusing on the thought of Lucifer, what his train of thought is, and what he's trying to get at the end of the day. Which in my definition is trying to represent to God that he is not what he thinks he is, that he thinks beyond something that God is hiding from him. So in a sense, he's trying to get something out of God.
So Just say that last one again,
So
because you
he's trying to
simplified
get
it.
something out of God.
Okay.
Um,
How can you, what's an even more clear way of turning what you just said into either an action,
mm,
into something like something, this is a tricky word, something positive, and by that I don't mean good,
mm,
but I mean something that you think will get what you want, which is
So my
information,
point,
right?
in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, I think it's already shocking enough that God is seeing Lucifer act like this first time. So I think I can amplify the certain things that Lucifer's qualities are in order to demonstrate God, what he truly is, because
Right.
through the whole show he's not been like this, a person who really let himself go, let himself be him.
Right, but you said, if I heard you correctly, you said something around the terms of God is trying to show, Lucifer is trying to show God that he knows he's something greater than what he is, and he knows that God knows it, right? So you're after some sort of information that God's keeping from you,
It seems like a
right? So
confirmation,
so my question is, what action, what tactic can you get that will be successful in getting that information from God? Because you already know you're powerful, right? You already have that feeling, which is why you need confirmation from God, right? Or I don't know if you do need confirmation. That's a question you need to ask yourself. But before that is, what's the tactic that you're going to get? How can you put it into like one sentence? Not even a tactic, but your main objective. Like, I'm going to get God to confess by.
by doing this.
Yeah.
I think it's by the use of Lucifer demonstrating God that we're on the same level.
Okay.
That can be demonstrated. There's not idea of anything.
Now, wait. I want you just to hold that on to that stuff, and I'm going to choose. So hold on to that objective,
Okay.
right? And now I'm going to switch chairs for you real quick. A little bit, so we're still socially distant. And I want you to make the camera lens God.
Okay.
Right? Because everyone's behind this camera. We take the thought. I'm going to get slightly directorial. I don't know how you see God, but, just borrowing a verse from the book, right, that gets repeated a lot is, and in many of the versions of the book, is God has made people in their own image, right? I had a great anecdote from a friend who spoke about this, was like, I got in trouble in Catholic school because as a woman, I asked God, well, I think God is a woman, and someone asked her why, and she was like, oh, because you said God is made in everyone's image, in my own image. I am a woman, so God thus is. Right, so let's take this concept and make camera God, right, for now,
Okay.
or just a lens, at least as a vocal point. You can make God whoever it is to you in your head. I don't want to control what your image of God is,
Yeah.
but just make the vocal point your camera, and put all these movements you're doing, and by that I include like what the information you got from going down the steps and actually coming down to God's level, which I thought was interesting since your level is below. So, so I asked myself if you had been thrown into hell yet, or if you're still allowed into heaven. So that was a question just to be aware of. But focus on the objective, and put all the feeling and physical work you did in your voice, only in your voice. And if you have to do one gesture, try to first do it in your voice, but if it happens from your body, do it full out and then come back to just focusing on your voice. All right? So is that too much to juggle? It's one objective, focus on the objective first, and just focus on this camera, and just do it all through your voice. Cool.
This is a test. You're testing me. That's a right for me. Now, I want to test myself to prove that I finally understand my part in the plan. You see, all my life, sir, I've always felt that I was somehow a useless angel. I look at Azrael, so seriously great, perfect for the angel of death. And oh, sweet, Samuel, exactly right for the angel of mercy, but when I tried to examine my character, couldn't find it.
I'm going to stop you real quick because actually there's a lot of great work already happening here, and I just want to point out a couple of notes so you can keep working on the same thing, but just be aware of some new things. So you have 3 questions, right, at the beginning. You can take your time with those questions in terms of how they land on God, how they land on that camera. If it's making it confusing to make God the camera, you can literally make God whoever you want, right? But focus on these questions in terms of helping you achieve your objective, which is to get information, right? And so you begin with 3 questions, right? And so, because then that will change the no, don't answer, right? So that and names, because you say 2 or 3 names, and they kind of make sure those land as well, because there's a reason why you're using those names. And they're tricky, right?
They're not really common names.
Yeah, and you can say them however you want to say them right now, but just as long as they land. Okay, go. Yeah, it could be in Spanish. They're Latin names, Yeah, dale, tú sabes, Azriel, or lo que sea, whatever, but go ahead.
This is nice. Listen, you're testing me. That's all right, don't answer. Now I will confess myself and prove that I finally understand my part in the plan. You see, all my life, sir, I always felt like I was somehow a useless. I look at Azrael, so serious and brave, perfect for the angel of death. And I see Samuel, exactly right for the angel of mercy. But when I tried to examine my character, couldn't find it. Gorgeous profile, superb intelligence, but what was Lucifer for? Now I'll explain about the apple. You see, when I got down there to help you, and Eve took one bite of that apple, and that innocent stare erupted with such a common appetite that I began to wonder, is it possible that I have actually done something evil?
Let's stop there, because that's another great beat. I'm stopping you at the beat to take it beat by beat.
Yes.
So, what did you say before Eve? Because Eve we got, but like we didn't get why you came. You came with
down
Eve.
there to help you.
To help you. Whoa, that's some huge information. That's new, right?
It's helping you the whole time.
That's new information. So like, if this objective is still working for you, then stay with this objective. The more I hear the monologue, because now I'm hearing the actual text more and the story more,
Yes.
I could understand the words that you were saying, but I couldn't connect them together as much. And now I'm actually hearing them. You might already know more than God anyway, because it's like
I'm on the front line who went there.
right. So it's like maybe you didn't know, but you say the thesis of the monologue is quite clear. I got 2 questions. Blah blah blah. Wait, actually, don't answer because I actually already know. I figured it out. So the question I would ask you to get a little bit deeper about the objective that I think can just, if you have an even stronger objective, I think you've done enough work on the monologue that everything would get clear. Why are you letting God know? Why? Why are you saying this to God?
Why am I saying this?
Don't answer it for me, but like, why are you saying this to God? Because you said it was to get information, but it seems like he might already know a lot of the information and figure it out. So why are you at times gloating or at times, and I say that because that's what I'm observing, some of the tactics that you're coming with, and you can do those more. But more specifically, how do you want to make God feel? Again, don't answer that for me. Answer that for yourself a little bit. Let's do it again. And just remember that that's a new piece of information. I went down there to help you. Right? That's new information. Treat every new information like a gem, or like a secret that then you hold the power over the audience of how to share.
Yes.
That's that thought. Ooh, I have a new thought for you. Ooh, you don't know it's going to be boom, ba. And that's enough. But I'll add some more. You can, up to you. If you want to take it from the top, you can. If not, you can take it from the second beat, right before you. Take it from top. Take it from top.
Okay.
Sorry, y'all. Take it from the top.
This is a test. This is a test. You're testing me. That's all right, the answer. Now I will confess myself and prove that I finally understand my part in the plan. You see, all my life, sir, I've always felt like I was somehow a useless being. I look at Azrael, so serious and brave, perfect for the angel of death. And oh, sweet, charming, exactly right for the angel of mercy. But when I try it to a young man character, you'll find it. Gorgeous profile, superb intelligence, but what was Lucifer for? Now I will explain about the apple. You see, when I had gone down there to help you, he took one bite of that apple, and that really stood and brought to the such a carnal appetite that I began to wonder, is it possible that I have actually done something evil? Father, I always have had certain impulses that mystified me. If I saw a brother angel soaring upwards, my immediate impulse was to go down. Others praise the forehead, and I am drawn to the ass. Always, I don't want to be I adore things. Every single thing is precious to me. I would go even further. The testing of the world is my stinking desire. Father, I am ready to take my place beside the throne at your right hand. If not the right, then the left.
Yeah.
For this,
What came up? Yeah.
Of the length of it, physically. Now watch this. See, now watch this. Is there a way to put that in vocal, or is it like a way to approach that thing? Because I want to give you the same way
Yeah.
vocal stuff from past to physically. Because right now I feel like the physical.
Well, how can you put it in your face, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it, like how can you put it in your face? How can you put it in your shoulder, but still concentrate on your breathing? Because I will say one thing. I should have stopped you a little earlier, but you were exploring some really interesting stuff, and I was getting a new story. Yes, what you just did right now. Did you see that? You just adjusted your posture
Yes.
just 5 seconds ago. That, but look at your heels. Where are your heels? Up. Are you grounded to the earth? Where's Satan from? Where does he live after this? Maybe not. But you know what I mean?
Yes.
Also character, but also as a technical point. When you're just working on the words, sometimes even when you're singing a song, it's better to just have your feet rooted when you're just working on it. And then, unless you want to work with the heel stuff, I don't know if you have your heels off because you're trying to do his hooks or something. But no, okay. But it seems like you're holding tension there. You know what I mean?
I see.
And sometimes your legs shake or whatever. So, in order to really be rooted to the earth, right? The wisdom of the earth.
It makes sense too, because if I'm going to get across, I'm not going to show the person this new.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah. You're explaining to him, have you found this new power? Like, I know my place is one of the lines, and I'm going to tell you how I know my place.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm asking you as the actor is to figure out a more concise choice as to why.
Mm.
Why and how do you want to make God feel?
Mm.
I find that question helps me find an objective much easier.
Right.
So, yeah, to answer your question about the hunchback part, I think once you're rooted to the ground, you're breathing lower, because that was another thing I was watching, that you're breathing a lot from your chest.
Right.
So that's what gets this kind of faster pace going thing. And there's a lot more moments that you can really breathe as you're speaking, and then go on with another moment and increase in whatever speed you want. But you can really, you're sharing with us, and you're sharing with God. In terms of the hunchback, however you move your body, as long as you focus while still being grounded to the earth as you are now,
Yes.
and in a full breath from your gut, the voice will do it for us. The characterization of the voice will make us see a hump, will make us,
Yeah.
And also, how familiar are you with Michael Chekhov?
Check out. Oh, I'm not pretty good.
Not Anton Chekhov, Michael Chekhov.
No,
The physical stuff.
Michael check out.
Yeah, emotional gestures and stuff.
Like, yeah, we work with them.
So how do you do that whole big body thing, which is like a 7 or an 8, sometimes a 9 or a 10, the way you did it before? How do you do that in a chair as a 2? How do you do that hunchback or whatever in the chair on your 2, at a 2 or a 1, and just have that concentrate coming through your voice?
Right.
I think an easy way that I find, because with Michael Chekhov work, when you're going down the numbers, and trying to make the gesture still as important as it was at a 10, still resonate at a 2 or 1, to me I find very difficult, right? But the whole point of 1 or 2 is not that it's less interesting than 9 or 10. It's just that you're pulling focus in. From here, I can't see it, but from here is one thing to that, take that 9 and turn it, what do you do that in your finger? How do you put the whole movement that you're doing with your body of the hunchback into your face?
Yes.
Not even your chest. Let's make it hard for you. Yeah, just put it in your chest. Yeah, how do you just leave it in your face? If you need to sit on your hands for that, do so. But if you want to be free of your hands, that's good too. But just know that, focus on all that movement you want to do. Keep doing it, but do it in your face at whatever level you want to do it. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. You can start from wherever, the middle or the beginning. Wherever you want to start from.
Father, I have always had certain impulses for mystified me. If for some of other angels going upwards, so the impulse was to go down. Others praise the forehead, and I am drawn to the ass. Oh, every single hole is precious to me. I'm going to go further. The testing of the world is my stinking desire, Father. I am ready to take my place beside the throne. At your right hand, but not the right and the left. I'll even do a leap. Now watch this. And I'll do a take 2. You see? And I'll stutter 2. And I'll wear a hunchback around my back to masturbate incessantly. Eternal witness of God loves absolutely everything he made. What? Listen.
Wait, I'm going to stop you. You're going to start from the exact same place,
Yes.
because I love what you're doing, but you're going to start from the exact same place, and you're going to take longer breaths in between sentences,
Okay.
and you're going to elongate all your vowels.
All my vowels?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
It doesn't have to be like I'm taffy, but it has to be like a little bit like I'm taffy.
So elongate like
Or a robot.
elongate.
Yeah. If you find a rhythm, break the rule. If you find but I'm. The whole point of this is to get you to take deeper breaths.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but keep the same rhythm. Just you have to elongate your breaths. I know that seems like a perpendicularity or an oxymoron, but try to work with that perpendicular stuff. Yeah, go.
Father, I always have had certain impulses that mystified me. If a son of brothers and my brother and going upwards, like maybe it.
Okay, stop. Now go back. You get it?
Yes.
So now do as close as you can to that length of vowel elongation, but don't be what my teacher used to say. Don't be a speech monster. How can you actually still be Satan and do what you were doing? Do what you were doing, but still make it work. I'm talking. I'm going to talk to you right now. And if you find that you're getting somewhere, then you can let it go, but keep the fact, let's do it this. I'm going to give you an objective. Show God how stupid they are. show God how stupid they are. This is getting a little directorial, but it's that kind of slow.
Yes.
You're talking to a child.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Just because it's kind of like what I'm getting from you already, and I think that kind of
Because it's
slowness.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Father, I have always overlearned.
Yeah. And take a moment to actually like process that. You know, don't start until, you know, just the moment before you're not ready. That's the best place to start. The moment before you're not ready. Like, the moment before you're ready. So, like, I'm not ready, I'm not, go.
Father, I have always had certain impulses that mystify me. If some brother angels going up, what's my opinion? Impulse was to go down. Others praise the forehead, and I am drawn to the ass. Oh, I adore poets. Every single poet precious to me, other than the intestine of the world is my stinking desire. Father, I am ready to take my place beside the throne at your right hand. If not your right, then the left. I'll use your limb. Now watch this. And I'll do a tick too. You see? And I'll stutter too. Whoa, no. And I'll wear a hunchback around my back and masturbate incessantly. A total witness that God loves absolutely everything He made. What a lesson! Point. Our reaching ultimate point is this. This will change. That was interesting.
What do you think? Yeah, how did that feel?
It was definitely interesting.
Or what did you find?
That's actually why I want to explore a little bit more. I feel like in the first one, very movement oriented, in the sense that I'm not giving it the command of the speech to where it needs to be religiously vocal lessons. You have to point them across through my voice, which is what Lucifer pretty much wants. I don't think he's a guy, Alice Martin, who's doing a show, or rather, show. If that makes sense.
Right, and putting on a show can be a tactic. It can be how you lead. You know, like
But
what
then,
you were doing earlier wasn't wrong by any means. They're great choices. But unless you do this work first, particularly with a work like Arthur Miller, unless you work on the text first, and like the time to add physicality to a piece like it depends on the actor. But particularly if your clarity of speech gets lost in your physicality sometimes, paying attention to what my body is already doing. Because your body's already doing a lot of stuff, and your body was still doing a whole lot of stuff even though you were trying to keep it back. Like one thing, actually, let's take it back from assholes real quick and talk about the body, because that was much better. Keep on with that same kind of clarity. Now you don't have to go as slow as you want, as before maybe, but speak to us in that way. Whatever you work from that, in terms of understanding, I got more of the story. However, your body. Why is doing this? This a lot. And even, I told you to just put it in your face, and you still kind of did it, and it worked. I didn't stop you because you were still very, like, I could hear you perfectly, and I got the story. But as an exercise, how, like, you can only lean once or twice. Because a lot of times when you lean, you look like you were chained, as opposed to maybe saying chill in the back. Maybe saying it's just chill. You know, while still being grounded. But like, so because by the end of it, I thought you were going to like turn into a snake and shoot right at God and through the camera and destroy everyone. So let's do it again and think up. Think up. You know?
Mhm.
I don't know if that's confusing. But like what I mean by that is like imagine there's a string pulling you from your cranium and the floor supporting you because your feet are supporting you, right? And you don't if that still helps you, great, but
It really used to be.
great. But it doesn't have you're right. Cool. Great. Also, one little technical
Yes.
stuff. Say asshole different. Unless there's period in between both, do something different. I don't care what you do, but it's everything else has been changing, and yet that stays the same. So I think you might be married to it. Explore a different choice.
Okay.
Just a different vocal choice. But yeah, take time, process.
So, living
Whatever you want, right before asshole. Somewhere around there.
okay, that's like a bottle.
Yeah.
Father, I have also had certain impulses domestified me. If by some of brother's angels going upwards, my maybe impulse was to go down. Others praise the forehead, and I am drawn to the ass. I don't want to be anything else. Every single force passes to me. The testing of the world is my stinking desire, Father. I am ready to take my place beside the throne. I keep your right hand, if not the right, then the left. I'll even do a limp. Now watch this. And I'll do it too. You see? And I'll stutter too. And I'll hunchback around my back and masturbate incessantly. Eternal witness, a God loves absolutely everything he made. What a lesson! But the point, the far-reaching ultimate, this will change the future.
Why? What was the thing there?
Find myself wanting, my body
Your shoulders,
wants it.
yeah, your shoulders were
Yeah,
coming up.
yeah. So it wants it, and then yet like it felt clear in my head. Like I was starting to notice it even more in my perspective.
Did you notice how it tightened your voice a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
Doing this, it's like doing that. That thing that is not necessary.
So may I ask you a
So,
question? Why
yes.
why didn't you just take a deep breath and place them down?
Think about it.
Exactly, right? It's all right. It happens to all of us, but like that there's a moment where there's so much energy and it wants to go somewhere, and like we rather than rather than doing it and processing it, because sometimes it's overwhelming. But sometimes that much emotion is letting you know, oh, I got to take that. Like my body needs to take this in. You know, because we hear ourselves too. Even if we're not trying to, we do, and your body's listening. And so, since your body's listening and it's getting really tense, how can you really? Because Ava was getting really tense in a moment where you were losing breath, and then you rushed through like 2 words that had like three syllables, internal something, before my rightful place on the throne, absolute idiots or something. There was like a comparison I lost in because you're trying to get into this really nice rhythm that you get to. Don't think your breath is going to break your rhythm. Not if you're thinking it. You know, if it's a breath that takes you down and somewhere else and breaks it, sure, yeah, that's going to cut your rhythm. But if it's like a breath, then I used to go even faster, and then I can just tell you, Arturo, that I'm having so much fun. I just breathe before much and fun, you know, and it still kept this
So
much fun. It's still
Yeah,
this free, right? So it's like, how can you use that? How can you just use that awareness? I think it's fear, personally, and not for you, but when that happens to me, like I think it's either overwhelming emotion or fear or just the obstacle. And I think the best thing to tell your brain at that point is not keep going with the plan, is no, address the problem. Like we said earlier, right?
Yeah.
Make every mistake a gift. So if this problem, let's call it a problem for now, we're like, oh, I'm supposed to like so elongate and breathe and keep my shoulders down, but my shoulders are hiking up and it's blah, 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 my voice. Oh, wait a second, I know this. People know this because they can see it happening to me. So make it part of the moment. Make it a gem. Maybe we're seeing the devil's weakness for a second, and the devil has to recollect themselves for one moment to then really tell it how it is. You know? So that's great that you saw that awareness. The next time that happens to you, make it part of the moment. Especially if it's at a rehearsal or at an audition and that just happens. You know? Because then, even if it wasn't the right moment to just take a breath there, it's something that actually happened. And you're allowing it to happen to you and the character at the same time. And you're sharing with us. And in the end, watching you think is much more important. Watching you process these words and share them with us is why we go to the theater, I think. One of the main reasons. To see a glimpse of what people have to share, their point of view, of how they see this character, this text, this play. With that being said, we're running out of time, so let's move. Let's get this concept. Let's stay in the chair for now, so people get surprised by when we add the physicality of the next piece you have for us.
Yes.
But let's start actually still with the chair work, because I think it's doing a lot of wonders, and we can still work on that tension. So, you know what? Let's do it once, and then talk about the play.
Like the whole thing just attached itself?
Yeah. So like, just act it first, and then we'll clue people in on the play, because this monologue, not that it's self-explanatory, but it's kind of its own thing, right?
Yes.
From what, I haven't read the play, but Arturo has, and we have spoken about it previous, and he'll talk about it later. Let's just see it. Let's just get to it.
But no one listens anymore, I fear, that when I die, so too will disappear. That sorrow art is practiced down was faint. And I'm not saying I'm some stained glass saint who always listens. Always? No, indeed. My God, I'm human. Touch me and I believe. It's just that, as far as mortals go, I'm sensitive. And some say too much so, to any nuance in a conversation, which might, perhaps, suggest my domination, thus in mid-sentence up, and I just see you. But in the end, I might as well have chattered. She's only eyes at anything that mattered. I know it sounds repulsive, but it's true. The point is, this is something that I do against all logic. So when you distraught in the middle of a brilliant thought, I simply stop like this. Depriving you of more, or if demanding reverence from before, for awesome skills debating pro or con. I simply stop like this. And don't go on! A trifle strange, Miss Paul, but if you please, ask any of my many devotees. They'll tell you that there's quirk at first appearing in time because incredibly endearing! To me, it seems obnoxious, heaven knows. The most say is a charming trait that grows more sweet with each encounter. Tell me why, I just don't see it, but then, who am I? At any rate, the gag, of course, let me observe with what profound simplicity it does the job. I think you'll be surprised. Voila! Now, if it did, it would out and silent. And I think we're all relieved with Nicky and the bug and Dr. Creed. The limelight on Precious Elmere. It's all our friend. Display along to here. It thinks the fairy, you'll deign to share your splendid name with one Augusta. Runner! Please answer if I talk to both together. I wait for you to try to fix it right.
We gotta work on that one because I heard Valere and 4 other words with the gag. So, because we gotta hear you. And even if that's a question of gagging it in a way that it looks gagged, but like you still have a bit more of your, because I don't know if you were choking yourself with it. I was like, oh, can he move his jaw? Like, what's going on? Because I could tell you were using your tip of the tongue a lot, and that helped a little bit, but you just Also, the gagger usually is so thick it blocks all the sound out.
This is a thin enough to like see through it too.
Yeah, it's so, but it's thick when you bunch it all
No,
together.
yeah.
So, how did that go for you?
Well, interesting. Valère is definitely an interesting character who both expressed himself, both physically and with voice, particularly.
Right.
So in a sense, just exploring the physical narrowness, for the lack of better words, and exploring with voice is interesting.
So, what is this moment exactly? Why is Valère speaking to three people? Which right now you only spoke to the camera, so feel free. 3 or 2?
It's two.
2 people. So he's speaking to 2 people. So either make it the camera, myself, or Max. Why is Valère in this room waiting to see the prince?
So he's about to get introduced to Prince for the first time. Personally speak, like person face to face.
Yes.
This is Prince, but as far as I recollect, he was invited by invitation to the party in order to meet the group, the troupe, or the theater troupe that belongs to the prince. So he's eager to meet the prince for the first time and demonstrate that he's more than capable of taking the lead on the troupe, which the prince sort of planned to. Or
Right.
at least put him in a higher status.
So that's why he's there waiting to get on to speak to the prince.
He went
Why
over-
why is he telling? Don't tell me what the monologue is about, but why? And you don't even. This is more of a rhetorical question. Why is he telling this to these people then? You know,
Well,
like
yeah,
what does he want out of these? Like out of these?
what's he want?
Like why? I mean, this is a question for every monologue. Why are you telling the people that are your? Why are you speaking to the people that you're speaking? Why are you choosing the words that you're choosing? They usually tell you about the tactics, right? And the context and those tactics usually give you a clue on the big objective that drives you through all those tactics, right?
Um,
And through all those obstacles
right.
that get thrown at you that make you change your tactic, right?
Yes. And my thing I want to like explore a little bit, because I think it's one of the things that touches on just why, is that he's not only trying to demonstrate it in my to Prince that he is capable of being the most extreme best artist that ever existed, but he's trying to prove it to someone that he already thinks has an authority in something that he's a master.
So would you say that this, in a way, just if I'm hearing you correctly, this monologue is in a way a show to prove that he is worthy of another show for the king?
He's totally showing that
Okay,
he's the
so-
worthiest of the worthiest.
Great.
Any worthiest man that ever
So take your time to show these 2 people that none of them have met you before, right? Or maybe one has? Yeah, none of them have met you before. Bravo, okay, you're going too fast for 2. Do you speak that fast to people you've never met in your life?
And after at this
Yeah.
point, they have not met before the scene specifically, but through the whole thing,
Right.
Valère in his mind thinks that they're brothers at this point.
Oh, well,
thinks
that's...
He thinks that they have this whole like life behind them already. That like they know each other inside out,
Okay,
and he just exposes to them as
so then we got to work on one thing.
Yes.
Then I didn't see that.
no.
You got to tell your brothers. You got to make the choice as the actor if Valère is aware of this delusion,
Yes.
if this is like a manipulation of Valère, or if he honestly just sees them as brothers even though they're strangers. Like, is he aware that they're also strangers so you can play with that? And if he's not aware that they're strangers, then you got to really listen back. Because you got to... So the biggest thing for me to figure out as an actor, like 6 or 7 years ago, and I'm still kind of figuring it out, is how you land something. The easiest way that I know how to know when something lands is because I'm in a scene, and I'm also listening, and I see it land on someone. They either shake, or their eyes light up, or their face changes. So when you're doing a monologue where it's important that people know that both you treat them like brothers, but that also people know that they ain't really your brothers, that's in how you receive, how you listen to that imaginary landing. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's
That's
a
why-
feeling too imaginary. Because a lot of the things in Valer's theme is that he thinks they're having a full conflict. He
Right.
thinks that, like, Elmer is talking back, like, oh, yeah, tell me more. He thinks that he's been fed this information to want to speak.
Right. So so let's do it again. And in a point, I'll move here a little bit. In a point to slow it down, wait till new information actually lands on them. You have an opinion about it, and then go on. Okay? And then go on. And maybe try sitting on your hands these times.
Okay.
Because somehow when you're talking to me, your shoulders don't go up hardly ever. And then when you're performing, they're just like, here, I think it's because you got to bring your voice even lower and your breath even lower. I don't mean in tone. I just mean like, I feel like the breath you're using to speak is a lot here in your chest. And it's not coming from all of your body. Even if you need to do it a little too loud to get what that feels like, and then we can like quiet the volume. But yeah, heels down. So.
That's good. Right? So, take it back.
Yeah, from the beginning. And then
But no one listens anymore, I fear. But when I die, so too will disappear. That subtle art is practice, not just fade. And I'm not saying I'm some stained glass saint who always listens. Always? No, indeed. My God, I'm human. Touch me and I bleed. It's just that as far as miracles go, I'm sensitive. And some say too much so. Too many nuances in a conversation which might, perhaps, suggest my domination, thus a mid-sentence up, then I just seize. Despite the countless times I felt my peace, where in the end, I might as well have chattered, since only I said anything that mattered. I know it sounds repulsive, but it's true. The point is this. Is something that I do against all logic, so don't be distraught in the middle of a brilliant thought. I simply stop like this.
all right, let's stop.
Yes.
Um,
Stop.
let's stop real quick.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you so much how you think that went because we're just running out a little bit of time, so I'm just going to add more stuff to play with. I want you to do it again from the top, and I want you to now just, yeah, exactly. Sit like that, and put your hands on your stomach. Even if you got to do it like this. You know, just make sure you don't feel locked there. And every time that you feel like you're just doing, I don't want you to push out your stomach, but I want you to notice how far out your belly is actually going. Because I'm seeing like, if this is your stomach, right? I'm seeing, as opposed to, you know, or the side, you know, I'm just seeing like, boop, boop, boop. Except if you hold it for like 3 sentences and then it's like a boop. And that's why we're hearing the sound a lot in your chest too.
That's good.
Oh, mask, fuck. Mask.
Okay.
Yeah, we're fine. So do that. Yeah. And remember, you're speaking to 2 people. And you know what? I'm sorry, I'm going to stop you. Because you have that. I trust you can do that. Let's not even work on objective right now, real quick, because there's a lot to. But work on how you want to make them feel. How do you want to make us feel with your words?
Okay.
Particularly taking in the gesture that you have now. Like that's where you are. That's your reality right now. So let's.
Okay.
And take your time. Take your moment.
But no one listens anymore, I fear that when I die, so too will disappear. That subtle art whose practice now grows faint. And I'm not saying I'm some stained glass saint who always listens. Always. No, indeed, my God, I'm human. Touch me and I believe. It's just that, as far as mortals go, I'm sensitive, and some say too much. So, to any nuance in a conversation which might perhaps suggest my abomination, thus in mid-sentence often I just seize. Despite the countless times I felt my peace, Well, in the end, I might as well have chattered, since only I said anything that mattered. I know it's impossible, but it's true. The point is this is something that I do against all logic, so don't be distraught. In the middle of a brilliant thought, I simply stop like this. Depriving you of more, or if commanding reverence from the floor, for awesome skills you bring, bro. Oh, come. I simply stop like this. And don't go on! I try for strangeness, Pa, but if you express any of my many devotees, they'll tell you this quirk at first appearing in time becomes incredibly endearing. To me, it seems obnoxious, heaven knows, but most say it's a charm, trait of grace, more secrets which encounter. Tell me why, I just don't see it, but then, who am I? Anyway, the gag, of course, observed with what profound simplicity he does the job. I think you'd be surprised.
All right, let's stop. We'll get to the gag next time. I wanna do it just one more time because
Yes.
we're running off a little bit of time. We're gonna do it again. Keep in your mind still how you want to make them feel. It made it a lot more clear for me. New exercise. If this is still helpful, the gesture, you can do it. If not, you can put it under. Yeah, you can hold on, but try not to hold on because then, like, you know what I mean.
Tension, yeah.
Then you just push it up. Try to relax it as much as you can. Oh, lost my train of thought for a second. Rhythm. Ah, right. Still think up. Still constant. Did you notice
Yes.
that you were that your breathing is very shallow?
Yes.
I saw you push it sometimes, but you know, I want you to work now on. You know when each line begins and ends, right?
Yes.
It's very poetic right now.
It's very,
It's very I can hear the iambic pentameter, and we'll work on that even a bit more next week. But we're going to address it a bit now. I want you to work on two things. I want you to mold them into one. I want you to breathe before you start each line. So what am I trying to say?
that's
No.
Maybe every, just in this case, people can probably stand and speak again. I'm having trouble connecting so at the end of the line, if you're talking about line specifically, every single thing is line. So therefore, how do I connect
Exactly.
the rhyming couplet with the next thought without
Yes.
the
Mm-hmm.
breath still being
Well, it's like I don't remember that one as much. Let's see if I can do it with. So what I'm asking is, so inhale and exhale on the line, and inhale before the next line, right?
Okay.
So an example is, no matter where of comfort no man speak. Let's talk of graves, of worms and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes, you get it.
Right.
So even if right now, even if some of them seems like it'll cut off the rhythm, do it either way, just to see how that informs your choices differently. Okay? Let's do it.
But no one listens anymore, I fear. That
Uh-huh.
my guy, there you go.
There's one in between I fear and that, right? That is a new line, right?
Yes.
Again. Yeah.
But no one listens anymore, I fear. That when I die, so too will disappear. That subtle art whose practice now grows faint. And I'm not saying I'm some stained glass saint who always listens.
Okay, stop. Do you realize that you're going,
Yes.
you're not doing a full inhale. You can do
Oh.
it through your mouth, but you're doing a quick runner's.
Yes.
And I'm not asking for, no matter where of comfort no man speaks, let's talk of graves. No, I'm asking for full inhale. That's why I did it with my nose. No matter where of comfort no man speaks, let's talk of graves, of worms and epitaphs. let's choose executors and talk of wills, and yet not so, right? And that doesn't mean there can't be a caesura in the middle of the line. You had a little one, like a little pause before I fear. You can still keep that. The point is to breathe before each new line. And use that breath to fully support that line. Use that whole breath to say that line, so that you need more air to say the next line.
Something I'm noticing a lot too, actually, you mentioned it in words, is I'm listening like, oh man, I have a lot of breath in me that I could have used
For
this
yes.
word or this
Because
stress.
by soar, I don't mean actually soar in rhythm. I mean giving everything more breadth and more importance, even if it means more rhythm. You know what I mean? So also have fun, Arturo. Have fun with breathing too. So do it again. We probably only have time for like one stanza or two. But like, breathe before each line and use that whole breath to speak through that line. And see what that does to your acting. Don't even think about it too much.
But no one listens anymore, I fear. That when I die, so too will disappear. That subtle art whose practice now grows faint. And I'm not saying I'm some stained glass saint who always listens. Always, no indeed, my God, I'm human, touch me and I bleed. It's just that as far as mortals go, I'm sensitive, and some say too much so. To any nuance in a conversation.
All right, that's good. That did well.
Interesting. Oh, when it's
You don't
words
have to
like-
give each word the
Yeah.
same kind of elongation, right?
Right.
Now that you get it, how can
Yes.
you like not sound like a speech monster, as my teacher used to say,
Yes.
and actually choose the 2 or 3 words that actually work with that much elongation, but take your time with the other things and then give the proper thing its proper due, right?
I like it.
Also, it doesn't all have to be a monster like me, because I fear that you might be copying my same intonation, and I'm sounding like a big exaggerated monster because I'm trying to do the clown version of it, so to speak, right? But like, how do you make sense of that? How can you use a whole breath? And then don't do that for each line, but then you'll find out that for the transition of some lines, it actually works.
Yes.
And that's a great way of finding a way to slow yourself down in a piece like this.
I've actually never thought about it. It was just really interesting new chapter. I want to explore more. Thank you. Yeah, that's definitely really helpful.
Did it provide any new insights on like the piece itself or the character, or did you hear anything differently?
Yes, it shows me that that the layer is putting more attention to certain things that want to be heard, and by using a whole breath, knowing that this is my start. I'm thinking of it like a gas tank. This is my beginning, this is the end. I'm using the whole gas to get the whole tank to use that thing, and I'm filling it up again before the next time. So
And
really
the next time we'll meet, which probably won't be on a Monday, by the way, but more on that to come. But the next time we meet, you can even incorporate that breath to also still make sure that we're going with you physically. So like, if I'm setting up the thing and I'm going to prepare you to show you a thing, I'm breathing so that I can move and talk at the same time, and it's still really clear. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's that thing of like the breath is what propels voice and body. And if you're not breathing deep enough, walking and talking and sharing, walking and talking is almost impossible.
Yes.
You know? Because it's all catch breaths. No matter how athletic you are, you won't be releasing all of yourself, this half of yourself.
Thank you.
I think we're done. I'm going to bring on Max. Thanks for joining us. Arturo, any last words you want to say?
Thank you so much, Marcel, Max, the Wilbury Group for having me today. And everything just was fantastic. Just fantastic work.
Air hug.
Air hug.
Air hug.
Because, like I said, you too, Max. It was your fun. Oh, yes.
Oh, we're in the air hug era, folks.
We'll do the Jurassic Park theme song.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, should we do that?
No, so close it off and we'll just,
Okay.
This
So-
is going to be our ending.
So thanks for coming, everyone. We appreciate you being here. So without further ado, And we're clear. That's fucking funny.
Oh, yeah.
Was that too stupid? No, that was great.
How long